All right, I've got a big polling and debate update. I want to start with the polling part of this because they are all in these 3 early voting states. So first, we've got 2 brand new polls out from Fox Business. One of Iowa's likely Republican caucus goers, and then another of likely primary voters in South Carolina. I'll start in Iowa. Donald Trump still way out in front, 46%. Here's the interesting thing. Coming in at number 2, Ron DeSantis at 16%. That's a 30-point spread for Trump. Still a ways to go. But my goodness, this is good news for Trump, not so great for DeSantis. Here's the interesting thing, though. Coming in number 3, Tim Scott, the South Carolina senator, 11%. Vivek Ramaswamy, 6%. And Nikki Haley at 5%. You didn't hear me say Mike Pence's name. That's a problem for him because he's gone all in there. In South Carolina, again, Donald Trump way out in front, 48%, 2% shy of an all-out majority in the state, which is great for him. Here's the thing. Coming in number 2, Nikki Haley, the former 2-term governor of South Carolina, at 14%, way, way behind. Right behind her, though, Ron DeSantis at 13%, Tim Scott at 10% in 4th place. And then way back in 5th place at 4%, Mike Pence. South Carolina is known for having a lot of evangelical voters. That bodes well for Pence. That's why he's at 4% there. The big question is, will Pence even see South Carolina if he doesn't do well in Iowa? We'll go on and have plenty of time to dissect that, though. All right, the last early state poll that I've got for you is a brand new University of New Hampshire poll released this week of their primary voters. It shows that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis running a little more competitively against President Trump than a lot of other recent polls show. So getting to the numbers, it shows Trump leading among primary voters with 37%, DeSantis in second at 23%. You see why that's a lot closer. That's just over 10%, showing that race could be a little bit more competitive. Or is this an outlier of a poll? We don't know yet. But in 3rd place, Senator Tim Scott at 8%, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie and current North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum are both tied at 6%. Interestingly enough, I've talked about this before, Christie all in New Hampshire, and there he is tied with Doug Burgum at 6%. That's an issue for Christie if he really needs to do well in New Hampshire. We'll see whether or not he makes up some ground in the next few weeks. But the big media takeaway in D.C. from that polling is that Tim Scott is the one to watch. And if you think about it, it's really interesting. Where he's doing well in 3rd place is in those first 2 early states, Iowa and New Hampshire, right? That's a big deal. But he's in 4th place in his own home state at 10%. I think what the takeaway here is this. He recognizes that if you can have a really strong showing in those first 2 states, Iowa and New Hampshire, you'll get slingshot ahead going into Nevada and South Carolina because other people are going to drop out and they're going to be looking for a place to go. If you're Tim Scott, you're hoping that that's you. So that's a great segue into the debate roundup that I've got for you because we've got some brand new reporting from CNN that says that 7 Republican candidates have met that RNC polling requirements to appear on stage for that first debate, August 23rd in Milwaukee. Now, I want to make sure that I give you the caveats as we go along. This is CNN's reporting. I'll give you my analysis in just a second. But according to them, Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, and Chris Christie have all reached 1% or higher in at least 2 qualifying national polls and 2 qualifying state polls from separate states. So that's good for them. According to their math, so has Mike Pence, but he's not guaranteed a spot just yet. I'll get to that in a second. Because as you remember, beyond the polling, they've got this donor requirement that they need to have 40,000 unique donors. And all the aforementioned folks, they've all hit that, except for Pence, who keeps telling the media that he's working hard to meet it. Now, if you had to put me on the spot, I'm going to guess that Pence barely makes this because it's just, if you've had the experience he has and you're not there yet, that's not a good sign. But I guarantee you they're going to go all in, all those gimmicks to get $1 donation, giveaways, etc. I think they might just barely pull it off, but they'll get there somehow. On the flip side, though, interestingly, Doug Burgum has made the donor requirement, right? We've talked about him in the past, the gimmicks that he's using to get people to donate to his campaign through gift cards and whatever, but he hasn't made the polling requirement. That's interesting. And of the remaining candidates who have not made the stage, according to CNN, Asa Hutchinson has not met the requirement, but he is one national poll from making it. Burgum, as I mentioned, needs 2 national polls, and former Texas Congressman Will Hurd and Miami Mayor Francis Suarez each need 1 state and 2 national polls. My guess, neither one of those guys make it. The other ones, I think, might find a way to sneak it in. Keep in mind, and this is something I've been saying for a while, this is the caveat I referenced at the beginning, the RNC requirement for those state national polls must be of 700 likely voters. And of the reporters that I've been talking to who are reporting all this out and saying that they've met the threshold, they're saying that officials at the RNC claim that that morning consult poll that was done in July, which was done with potential voters, not likely voters, is going to count as a qualifying poll. I mean, I get the RNC's in a bind. I've been telling this for a while now. The problem is there's not a lot of organizations that are going to do 700 likely voters. But the RNC is going to do what they can, tweak rules to let polls like this count. Here's the thing, folks. This is going to come back and be a problem. That's my guess. Maybe it won't be for this first Fox poll, but if you start changing and tweaking the rules, mark my word, it's going to be a problem down the road. Now, remember, I've been saying this for a while. I'm betting that Trump does not show up for that first debate, at least, and he will counter-program the debate. My guess is that he does something with Tucker Carlson that night. I mean, look, Trump has his reasons for not wanting to give attention to a bunch of candidates who barely made the criteria at 1%. Well, he's way out in front, right? We talked about this. He's way out in front nationally, and he's way out in front in that early polling that I just talked about. He's not going to sit around while a bunch of people at 1% take pot shots at him and act like they're equals to him. But I think both Trump and Tucker also have an added reason for doing this and sticking it to Fox News. So the big question that a lot of people are asking is, when will it be official? Well, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either Trump or Tucker are going to announce that they're going to counter-program and do an event, or on August 21st, 2 days before the first debate, we will know for certain, right? Because that is the deadline when candidates who have qualified have to notify the RNC if they're going to participate. So stay in touch with us, and we'll make sure that you're the first to know. Well, if you enjoyed this video, click the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to make sure that you never miss another video.